Hey loves, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I wanted to talk about my weight loss journey as a whole. I have lost almost 160 pounds now, which is about 30 pounds more than what I even weigh at the moment. So I have gone through quite the journey, and how I even became 300 pounds to begin with, and what the turning point in my life was to have me finally be successful on my weight loss journey. I will talk to you guys about lifestyle changes that I made, habits that I changed, and also tools that I used on my journey to support me getting to my goal. Let's get right into the video. Okay, so first I am going to talk to you guys about how I even became 300 pounds to begin with, and kind of how I felt in that body. So e.l.f. Power Grip Primer. So my relationship with food was always a struggle. The earliest memory I have of kind of knowing that my body looked different than most girls my age, I was in about 6th grade. If you guys are around my age or a little bit older, you might remember a store called Justice. It was a store for little girls, and I believe they carried sizing up to size 12 in girls, or 12 or 14, one of those sizes, right? I was there for a birthday party, and all the other girls, including my sister, who is a year younger than me, they all could fit in the clothes there, and I didn't. So that was the very first time I kind of like, oh, I'm bigger than other girls my age, because I couldn't participate in something girls my age were participating in. And that is kind of a common theme up into my adulthood, right? For foundation today, we're going to be using the Haus Labs. This is Lady Gaga's brand. Love this stuff. The first time I remember binging, I was actually in middle school. I don't remember exactly my age, but I remember I ate like an entire pack of cookies, 12 cookies. And I felt super guilty after, and then I would try to go on the treadmill that we had at the house to burn it off. And all of this were learned things that I learned from my mom, because my mom is someone, she will diet and then she'll stop, or she'll like punish herself with restricting food and exercise. And she was always someone that, oh, I'm gonna start my diet on Monday. So that was like kind of something that I just kind of like learned by observing my mom. And I'm not saying like I blame my mom or anything. I forgive her. She was doing her best as a first-time mom. She struggled with her weight as well. My grandmother struggles with her weight still to this day. Actually, my grandmother was like 500 pounds at one point in her life, and she has like an active food addiction to the point she is cursing out nurses to bring her a Coke, threatening neighbors to bring her food when my mom would refuse to bring her food. Like it's runs deep, okay? The food trauma in my family, specifically on my mom's side, runs deep. My mom kind of would say things like, don't eat that kind of food makes you fat, instead of focusing more on portion control. Or if you're gonna eat that, make sure that, you know, you have your protein, your fiber with it, etc. I do remember her saying like, oh, eat carrots, they're good for your eyes, eat fish, it's good for your brain. She would tell me those things, but still, I just think that don't eat that, it's gonna make you fat, had more of an impact on my growing brain. Fast forward to high school, I was a little bit bigger, but I can't remember like thinking, oh, I'm huge or anything. I was definitely bigger, and I think what contributed me to having some sort of weight management was the fact that I was in sports. I did do Taekwondo. While I was active in Taekwondo, I was pretty athletic, and I also did tennis junior year, senior year in high school as well. So I feel like the only reason why I wasn't like super big is because I did sports. And then right after high school and I went to college, like I was slowly gaining. At this point, I did meet my son's dad. A lot of people think that I must have gained weight during my pregnancy. I did not gain any weight during my pregnancy. In fact, the day that I gave birth, I was 20 pounds lighter than the day I found out I was pregnant. I threw up the entire time, super sick, so I did not gain weight as a result of my pregnancy. Having my son was a very big eye-opener, because when you are in a bigger body, I'm speaking for myself, I did not have all the energy in the world to raise a child. To have a son on top of that who's very active, you need energy, okay? He was born in 2018. COVID happened, kind of quickly after that. I wasn't working. I was at home just playing around with recipes, just eating. I would work out sometimes, but it was like a punishment if I was emotionally eating or anything. On top of that, I would be drinking sometimes as well. So just the weight was just like kind of piling up at that point. By the time he was like 3 or 4, I had reached 300 freaking pounds. Now I'm going to talk you guys through how I decided I was going to be serious about my fitness journey, things that happened to me that made me realize that my weight was a serious problem, and kind of just how I finally took responsibility and accountability and started to make the change, because that was not something that just happened overnight. It was not like a light switch. It's something that took a while, and that is part of the journey that a lot of people don't really like talk about sometimes. I'll be using this Maybelline contour stick to contour my face really quick. When Mendito was a toddler, he had gotten out of the house, and let me tell you guys, he was one of the most active, crazy little boys like you would have ever known, okay? He was freaking insane, full of energy, right? Still is very full of energy. But he got out and he made a run for it. At this time, I was living in Oakland. I was not living in a good area of Oakland. I lived on a super busy street, kind of by the Oakland Zoo, and I could not keep up with my child. And thank God he stopped, because I think he got scared because I'm like screaming at him. I would not have been able to catch up to him, and God knows what could have happened to him if he ran into traffic, if he was running and there was a dog chasing him and got to him. Like, there are so many scenarios kind of going in my head of like, oh my gosh, you are not fast enough to keep up with your child. A mom should be able to keep up with their 3-year-old. This is just a Say, I don't even know how to pronounce this brand. Dew Blush in the shade Baby. I love this color so much. That was one thing. Another thing is I was having chronic back pain, and for so long, it was so easy for me to blame it on my epidural, because I did have an epidural and I would have sciatica pain afterwards to the point I could not walk. I could not get up off the couch. I would have to go see a chiropractor like emergency because I couldn't friggin' walk, and I'd have to call out of work, which obviously affected my finances. So I went to my primary doctor and he was like, you're extremely overweight. That's why you're having back pains. Why am I going to send you to a massage therapist? Why am I going to send you to physical therapy? Like, you need to lose weight. There's so much pressure on your back. There's so much pressure on your spine. And of course, it was so easy for me to just be like, every time I see a doctor, they just want to blame everything on my weight, blah, blah, blah. And I think at the time I was kind of feeling like that, but I was having back pain because of my weight. Because as soon as I lost like about 50 pounds, I never had an issue with my back ever again. You are having these problems as a result of you being overweight. A lot of us are in denial, and it's really easy to pinpoint the issue to other things, because having to admit that it is a direct result of our weight gain would mean we're responsible. And a lot of us don't want to feel responsible for the negative stuff in our life, but it's a part of the process of changing, and it's okay. It's okay to forgive yourself. It's okay that you let things happen in your life and it is now negatively affecting you, because that means you're in control of your life. That also means that you can positively change your life as well. So freaking good. This is the Double Wear Estee Lauder concealer. I'm going to put a little bit on my eyelids really quick because I have vitiligo right there and I don't want it to show. I also was diagnosed with sleep apnea, and it was affecting my sleep. I was feeling really tired. I would wake up in the middle of the night, really not good. You could die in your sleep. Like, that's fucking scary. On top of that, I was pre-diabetic. My numbers were not looking good. And that really hit home for me because my grandma, my mom's side, she does have diabetes. She almost lost her feet before because they had such huge holes in them. She was pretty much immobile. When my grandfather died, my mom and my aunt could not take care of her because they are just not equipped to like lift her up into the bed, to get her to the shower, to get her to the bathroom. Like, she needs a full medical team because of how large she was. And she is not independent at all. She needs someone to take care of her around the clock. She's on all these medications, like she's having all these issues, and it's because she never took care of the weight problem, you know what I mean? And it was kind of like, hey, Nat, this is going to be your future if you don't change. So that was a huge motivation for me, along with wanting to be healthier for my son. Now let's talk about kind of the turning point in my life. So I was engaged to my son's dad, but it was a toxic relationship. It was not a healthy relationship at all. And me being able to leave him and to kind of choose myself and to realize like, hey, just because things were a certain way up to this point doesn't mean I can't change my mind, because I was literally 3 months away from saying I do. I literally was like, I don't give a about embarrassment. I am choosing myself. I don't care what happened up until this point. Right now, I want to change. I kind of felt like I was like at a crossroads. It's really easy to stay in your comfort zone. It's really easy to not challenge yourself. I didn't want to live that way. I want the absolute best for myself. During this time that I was going to my doctor with back pains and stuff, he had already suggested the gastric sleeve to me. I was taking nutrition classes and stuff, but I wasn't like taking it super seriously. I was like, I don't want to have weight loss surgery. That sounds like a death sentence to me. And then the following year, after I split up with my son's dad, I ended up getting an apartment with my sister. And I was almost 26 at this point. I was still on my dad's insurance. My dad's insurance was going to cover weight loss surgery completely. So I was like, let's talk about it. Let's see about it. At this point, I was kind of trying to lose weight naturally. I would lose 10 pounds, gain it back. I was like really trying, and I just felt like I needed to have weight loss surgery. So I, of course, did my research into weight loss surgery. I made sure that it was like a final attempt to lose weight. And my doctors were like, you're a good candidate for this. We feel like you would do really good in the program. So since a year had passed since my last referral, I had to start over the program all over again. So during that year, I did have to take nutrition classes. That's kind of how I got really good at learning how to track my macros and stuff, learning what foods affect the body in what ways. And it started to give me a different outlook on food, because for the longest time, it was like, well, if you eat salads and you eat vegetables and you eat fruit, that's healthy. And if you eat cookies and you eat cake, that's not healthy, which is true to a point. But it's all about balance and quantities. You know what I mean? Because weight loss is just reducing your calories and burning more calories than you eat. And that doesn't have to feel crazy restrictive, right? We did have to meet with a therapist as well. We did also have a support group, and we had to literally be tested on nutrition and stuff, because the insurance is not going to pay for you to have weight loss surgery for you to just go back to your old ways. They're going to pay for it for you, so you don't have these other medical issues that they're having to like pay for later down the line. You know what I mean? Like, it makes sense. So, and during this time, I am getting into the gym. I am weightlifting. This entire year I was weightlifting, and in a year I was able to lose 25 pounds, and that got me approved to have the gastric sleeve. Super proud of myself. This was like the most weight that I've been able to lose in a year, and it was very good weight loss because I lost it slowly. It was sustainable. I wasn't restricting myself. I had not binged in forever. I was like super consistent. And even though I was still pretty big and still having like issues, just the fact that I was able to stick with something and I was feeling consistent gave me so much confidence to keep going. Use MAC Studio Fix powder. So now it is August of 2023. I'm around 270 pounds and my gastric sleeve is booked. And the first month of having the gastric sleeve, I lost like 30 pounds. Second month, I lost like another 20 pounds. And during this time, I'm tracking all my food. I tracked like everything that went into my mouth for like a good 2 years. Like the first 2 years after my gastric sleeve, I was tracking everything. I was in the gym like 5 to 6 times a week. Like, if you guys have been following me along, like my journey last like few years, you guys know like I have become a gym rat. You know what I mean? Right now, this time in my life, like this last 6 months, this last year, I'd say I've been like the most relaxed in my journey that I've been, because, you know, I've hit all the goals that I want. I made sure that I was eating my protein goal, which was, I was 150 grams of protein a day, which is still kind of like what I try to do. But if I can get like 100 grams, then I'm good. I cut out sugar. I did switch to the artificial sweeteners. I prefer monk fruit. I know artificial sweeteners is not for everyone, but it is what helped me because was really like loved sugar. And just eating sugar triggers your body to want more sugar. That trifecta of like fats, sugar, carbs is literally just gonna like make your brain crave it more. So it was best for me to cut it out because I was freaking addicted. Like, I have not had crumble cookie since my gastric sleeve. There are certain things like I haven't had. Of course, I still allow myself balance and stuff, but having full-blown sugar anything is pretty rare. You know what I mean? For my son's birthday, I had some cupcakes. I'll eat sweets with Justice, but you know what I mean? It's not like how it used to be. And I started realizing that I could make my own sweets at home using like pumpkin puree, unsweetened applesauce, using protein powders, zero sugar Cool Whip, zero sugar Jello. And that's kind of like what helped me stick with it because me having a sweet tooth, I don't think that's something that ever will go away. So I just had to find alternatives. So I would make my own alternatives. I would make my own protein coffees because Starbucks was also an issue for me. I would have the caramel frappuccinos, I would have a cheese Danish, and I would have a cake pop. And like that would be my breakfast. And I'd be like, oh, it's not eating that much food. Like, I'm barely eating, but there's so many calories in just those 3 items at Starbucks. Not good. So now I'll make my own protein coffee. I'll do egg bites, and it's more filling and it's not 1,000 grams of sugar. Also, after I had the gastric sleeve, I found support groups for people who also had weight loss surgery. This is when I started really being consistent with posting my journey online. I met friends online, and I feel like having a community and meeting people who are on a similar journey with you helps you stay accountable, and it's helped so much. I feel like if I was doing this completely alone, I would not have found the success that I found. I remember my original goal weight, actually my goal weight since like high school was 165 pounds. And when I got to that goal weight, I was actually like, hey, I could actually keep going. And now I'm like 135 pounds because I made sustainable changes. I was still allowing myself to eat fast food. I was still allowing myself to have alcohol. I was still allowing myself sweets sometimes. Just knowing how food affected my body made it so much easier to stick with my diet plan and realizing, hey, you could have a cookie and still meet your macro goals. Like, it just made it so much easier for me. That's why I'll always tell people, like, learn how to track macros, not to track macros for the rest of your life, but just so you kind of like know you can still hit your goals with eating what you want. You know what I mean? It's kind of like playing Jenga in a way, like moving things around. Do some setting spray. This is the one size. There were like a lot of trial and errors for me on my journey. When I first started tracking food, I was not perfect at it. When I first got into the gym, I did not have perfect form or anything. But when I needed help, I would do research on it and I would ask for help. But the most important thing is I wasn't scared to fail. I wasn't scared to not do something right because I was actually trying. And that's something that I will always tell you guys. Don't be afraid to fail. Be afraid to never try. Like, never trying is actually a lot scarier because if you fail, so what? You're just going to gain more experience from that lesson. You know what I mean? Like, it's okay. Forget all that noise and just literally lock in and focus on yourself because you deserve it. Now I kind of want to talk to you guys about maintaining the weight loss. I did struggle with regain. I don't think it was because my eating habits were not good. I think it's because I had 3 surgeries back to back and I wasn't able to be in the gym. I rely on being active for my weight management. So the fact that I couldn't be active and I was just at home healing did have me gain 30 pounds back. But I did get on a super low dose of tirzepatide to help with my PCOS symptoms, and it's been helping me like not feel hungry every single hour. And I'm still able to eat, but I'm not like having food noise. I did have to like lower my dose because the last dose I took, like I was having a really hard time eating And Justice was like, dude, you're lightheaded, like you need to eat more. Yeah, I'm doing a quarter of like what my dose is supposed to be at this point, but I only want a little bit to kind of help with the food noise. I'm not on it to like lose any more weight or anything at this point. I feel like I am kind of as lean as I ever want to be, and if anything, this winter I'm gonna try to gain a little bit of weight back to build some glutees. Let me do my eyebrows. So a lot of people think that maintaining your weight is just as easy as losing it. I would argue that it might even be harder, because so many people, they get to that goal weight and then they kind of ease up on their habits, they ease up on their routines. They think they don't have to do certain things, but let me tell you guys, how you lose the weight is how you maintain the weight. So that's why I say to make sure whatever you're doing on your journey is sustainable, because the moment you stop doing it, that weight's going to come back. It will come back. Like the moment I stopped exercising regularly because I was recovering from surgery, I gained 30 pounds in like 6 months. You know what I mean? Like, it took me another 6 months to like lose it. That's just why, like, doing sustainable things, not cutting out complete food groups, not saying I'm never going to eat this again, not telling yourself you're never going to eat out again, all that is just temporary stuff, and it's honestly like not even a healthy mindset to have. Okay, so makeup is done. That is pretty much in a nutshell how I lost over 150 pounds. If you guys have any specific questions for me at all, I can definitely do a follow-up Q&A to this video. I just kind of wanted to give you guys like a gist of it and let you guys know about the tools that I use to help me on my weight loss, the main things that I changed, and also kind of like what I went through growing up and kind of what my turning point was, because I feel like those things are very important. Please like, comment, and subscribe to this video if you enjoyed it, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye!